Imagine this. You're 30. You've spent a decade grinding for digital numbers in a bank account. You finally have enough for a down payment. You're standing in a kitchen with quartz countertops that are actually just gravel held together by resin. Your parents are nodding, your friends are jealous, you feel like a grown-up. Nah, you just downloaded a 30-year liability and called it a dream. You didn't buy a home, you bought a subscription service to a stationary box of wood and nails. You are a biological glitch seeking territorial security in an era of global liquidity. Most people aren't homeowners, they are dead custodians for a bank that doesn't know their name. Let's debug the code. The common logic is a software bug. People tell you renting is throwing money away. They say buying is building equity. Simple. They're lying. Or worse, they're stupid. When you buy a house, you aren't building equity for the first decade. You're paying for the bank's new lobby. Look at an amortization schedule. It's a mathematical trap. In the early stages of a mortgage, your monthly payment is roughly 80% interest. You aren't buying a house, you're renting money from the bank to pretend you own a house. If you rent an apartment, you pay the landlord. If you buy a house with a mortgage, you pay the bank. Either way, you are paying for the privilege of existing in a specific coordinate on a map. The equity you think you're building is often cannibalized by the ownership tax, maintenance, property taxes, HOA fees, insurance. These are unrecoverable costs. Rent is the maximum you will pay for housing. A mortgage is the minimum. When the water heater explodes at 3 a.m., the renter hits delete on the problem. The homeowner initiates a side quest that costs $2,000 and 3 days of their life. You've become a janitor for your own debt. Why do we do this? Why do we sign up for 30 years of debt? Evolution. Your brain is hardwired to value territory. In the Pleistocene, if you didn't have a cave, you died. Owning land feels like a win condition for your survival instincts. It's a dopamine hit triggered by a false sense of permanence. But permanence is a bug in a high-speed economic system. In a modern economy, mobility is a power-up. If a better job opens up 3 states away, the renter packs a suitcase and leaves. The homeowner has geo-locked. To move, they have to list the house, pay a 6% commission to a middleman who does less work than a ChatGPT prompt, and wait for a buyer. By seeking stability, you've actually traded away your most valuable asset. Optionality. You've locked your capital into a single, non-diversified, highly illiquid asset. You wouldn't put 100% of your net worth into a single meme coin, so why do you put it into a single zip code? Let's talk about the math they don't teach in high school. Opportunity cost. Imagine you take that $100,000 down payment. Instead of burying it in your front yard, you put it into a low-cost index fund. Over 30 years, that money compounds. It's liquid. It doesn't need a new roof. It doesn't get termites. The house? It appreciates at roughly the rate of inflation plus 1% or 2%. After you subtract the interest paid, the renovations, the new windows, and the property taxes, your profit is usually a rounding error. People love to say, I bought my house for $200K and sold it for $500K. Nah, they didn't. They bought it for $200K, paid $300K in interest, $100K in taxes, and $50K in repairs. They sold it for $500K and actually lost money in real terms. But the human brain isn't built for multivariable calculus. It's built for number go up equals good. It ignores the leakage of cash flow over 3 decades. Why is the pressure to buy so high? Follow the money. The entire American dream is a marketing campaign designed by banks and real estate agents. They need you to stay put. They need you to be a predictable, debt-servicing unit. A stationary population is a harvestable resource. Social media has accelerated this. Instagram is a FOMO engine. You see a peer posting a photo holding the keys, your social status subroutine is triggered. You feel like you're losing the game because you're still just Renting. Pathetic. You're comparing your liquid freedom to their illiquid prison. You're watching them sign a contract to be a debt slave for 3 decades, and you're jealous of the aesthetic of their kitchen island. It's like being jealous of someone because they have a heavier ball and chain. Buying a house is an end game item. It's what you do when you've already won the game and have excess gold to burn. But modern culture tells you to buy the end game item while you're still level 1. You're trying to run Cyberpunk 2077 on a calculator. But rent prices always go up. Sure, so do property taxes, so do labor costs for plumbers. Inflation is the server-wide environment. No one escapes it. But renting allows you to hedge that risk. If a neighborhood goes to hell, you leave. If your income drops, you downsize. If you buy, you are long on that specific street forever. The scam isn't rent. The scam is the belief that a house is a guaranteed investment. Fact check. Between 1890 and 1990, the real return on U.S. housing was almost 0%. The post-World War II boom was a historical anomaly, a unique set of server conditions that aren't being repeated. We have aging populations and remote work. The infinite demand patch has been removed. Simple. If you buy a house because you want to paint the walls purple, fine, that's a lifestyle choice, but don't call it an investment. Call it what it is, an expensive hobby that satisfies your nesting instinct. So, how do you actually win? You run the numbers without the emotion. You use the 5% rule. Take the value of the home, multiply it by 5%, divide by 12. If you can rent a similar place for less than that number, renting is the mathematically superior choice. The 5% represents the unrecoverable costs of owning. 1. Property tax. 2. Maintenance. 3. Cost of capital. 3%. Interest or lost gains from your down payment. If the math says rent, you rent. You take the extra money and you pump it into assets that actually produce value. Stocks, businesses, skills. You become a mobile asset in a world that rewards flexibility. Don't let your nesting instinct glitch your bank account. But the leverage, the gurus shout. You can put 5% down and control a $500,000 asset. Imagine this. You go to a casino. You ask the dealer to let you play with $500,000 using only $25,000 of your own money. If the game goes down by 5%, you lose everything. You'd call that gambling. In real estate, we call it the American dream. Leverage amplifies gains, but it also amplifies losses. If your house value drops 10%, which happens, you haven't just lost 10%. If you put 10% down, you've lost 100% of your equity. You are underwater. You are now a prisoner of your own home, unable to sell because you owe more than it's worth. You've effectively shorted your own mobility. We need to address the pride of ownership. It's a powerful drug. It feels good to say, "This is mine." But is it? Stop paying your property taxes for 2 years and see who owns the house. Stop paying the bank for 6 months and see who owns it. You are a tenant of the state and a tenant of the bank. You just have the illusion of control because you get to choose the color of the carpet. Real ownership is having assets that pay you. If your asset requires you to work 40 hours a week just to keep it from being taken away, it's not an asset. It's a liability disguised as a trophy. Successful people often rent their primary residences because they want their capital working in the markets where it can compound at 10% or 20%. They've updated their software. Have you? The world has changed. The software of the 1950s get a job, buy a house, die in that house is obsolete. It's legacy code full of security vulnerabilities. If you want to survive the 21st century, you need to think like a system architect, not a consumer. You need to understand that your brain is trying to trick you into safety that doesn't exist. Real safety isn't a deed in a drawer or a white picket fence. Real safety is a high-yield skill set, a liquid portfolio, and the ability to move wherever the opportunity is. It's the ability to pivot when the economy changes, not the security of being stuck in one place with a massive bill. Stop being a victim of your own biology. Stop buying into the dream and start looking at the data. The math doesn't care about your feelings. The market doesn't care about your dream kitchen. If you found this breakdown useful, or if you're a homeowner currently crying into your quartz countertops, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the glitches of human behavior and the mathematical mechanics of money. Comment below. Are you renting or buying? And more importantly, do you actually know your unrecoverable cost ratio? Or are you just following the herd into the slaughterhouse? Don't be a glitch. Optimize. See you in the next block.